My name's sK1pTRoniXxX, and this is my DJ setup. So explain it to you a little bit. Okay, so I use one computer, which is this laptop right here, the Apple MacBook Pro 13-inch. Okay, which has Traktor running on it, and let me get in Ableton. Okay, now Traktor right here is routed into Ableton. Okay, I use two different screens so I can see what's going on in Ableton too. Okay, so Traktor will basically be where I control, where I take all my tracks out of. I also sometimes take the actual samples from the songs that I produce and I remix on Ableton, because I also use it as a digital audio workshop, or a DAW. So I can either take the samples from the songs I produce and I remix and bring them into Traktor, or I can just play them on Ableton, however I feel I want to do it. There's multiple different ways you can do different things. But mainly, when I'm in a club, I like to stick with just Traktor, and I'll run all my programs or samples however I want or feel like doing it. So I run 2 decks, A and B, 8 samplers on C and D. Everything's routed out through the Audio 8. Okay, and the actual final out is Traktor routed into Ableton, Ableton routed into the sound card, and the sound card routed into the mixer. So you can always bring this setup in any club or any place with a mixer. Oh, I don't want to zoom in. I actually want to back out. Okay, there we go. Okay, so this is how I control it. I have 3 MIDI controllers. I have the machines. I'm not using the program. I'm just using the controller. Okay, which controls deck A and deck B. Okay, so as you hit play, as you hit play on deck A plays. As you hit B, deck B plays. Now you see how deck B didn't go in sync. There's a button out here that brings up the first cue point that'll automatically play and sync at the same time. Same thing with any of the other cue points. As such, as you see them going in, the cue points are also here. So here, let me stop this too. And like I said, everything, like I said, is routed out to the mixer. So deck A, deck B, both playing. Okay. Now, C and D control the samplers. The samplers also just play. The knobs are also controlled through the actual buttons. And I can actually load up samples depending on what I press. It'll load it up. So I also use it for Cubase drumming and for sample-based cue points. Bring up a hi-hat when I bring up a cue point, so it doesn't just automatically come in. Sounds smooth, sounds good. Great, let's move on. Sorry for the shake of this. Anyway, so this controls deck A, deck B, C, and D as a sample. Now, banks E, F, G, and H on machines, the controller, are actually mapped out to Ableton. It's controlled different effects. Let me see if I bring one of them up. It's also E and F are actually mapped out to the samplers on deck C and D in Ableton, so I can always use the effects. And keep in mind when you do it, the chain that you use and the order you use is big. There goes the effects change right there. In this particular case, it's actually auxiliary it's mapped out to. And if you see, as I press the buttons, keys actually will light up. Oh, here, let me get a nice big key for you. See as it moves. So, just to show that. Okay, now let me X this out. So, that's how that works. Fairly easy. Okay. And the same goes for the keyboard. The keyboard is mapped out to another actual mapping, but that's more synth-based, so it actually will look like I'm playing the synth, but I'm really not. Don't tell nobody. Anyway, as we move on, this controller controls the final out in Ableton. It controls my master out volumes. I kind of use it like I guess a console control for my final out. So I can always control it and always make what I want it to sound like in a club or any type of atmosphere or environment I am playing in. These are dummy clips that control the MIDI. As you can see, those MIDI, all these guys are here in these 2 decks. That's for deck A, that's for deck B. Those are all dummy MIDI clips that are based off effects chains that are either 1 bar, or looping, or multiple bar effects. and if you move this over, you can also, a little trick is that this will control the pitch, so you have to move that over. And you can actually almost play it like a synth depending on if you're using a certain effects chain in here. Everything is, also, the X1 can play the same thing, deck A, deck A, deck B, deck B, controls the same in tractor mode. But now when you switch it over to MIDI mode, it gets a little bit different. These two columns right here, from where my fingers are, these two decks and these two over here, are actually pretty complex MIDI mapping based off of an instant gratification MIDI fighter controller, which is any combination of any 4 buttons on here will bring up, over here, sorry, any 4 buttons will actually bring out an effects combination that is automated based off modifiers in Tractor. So you're actually automating the effects in Tractor based off modifiers. If you press 1, it's one type of effect with no automation. You press 2, there's a little automation, and it actually complements 1. Any one of these 2, you can even press 2 in here on the same row. Basically, 1 will complement 2, 2 will complement 1, 3 will complement 1, and 2 effects change, and the 4th one will actually take the song completely out. So that's how it works. I would let you hear it, but unfortunately it doesn't sound good in here. So other than that, like I said, I have my MacBook Pro running Tractor, Ableton, and then these all controllers are all different MIDI mappings for all different effects chains. The main transport is right here, A, B, C, and D. And my final out is Tractor, routed out to that bad boy. That's it. My name's sK1pTRoniXxX. You can check out my stuff at sK1pTRoniXxX.com, sK1pTRoniXxX.com. And also check out my SoundCloud at soundcloud.com, soundcloud.com/sK1pTRoniXxX, sK1pTRoniXxX. Yeah, you can make fun of me all you want for that last one. I'm out.